Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, evening edition of Tackle Talk Live. A little different than what we've been doing. Normally going around noon, Kevin, but today, well, due to circumstances of me trying to get back here, we decided to do an evening show, and we'll see how it goes. But hey, we're here. We got a great interview with the guy that just won the Sam Rayburn tournament over there at the BFL this past weekend. We've got Shane Williams coming on. Looking forward to having Shane on. And Kevin, we got the results of Bass Nation. I think we got partial results.
Results from as much as we can get from the Louisiana Bass Nation this past weekend on Toledo Bend. But really looking forward to Shane coming on. This was, Steve, one of the toughest events. Yeah. Not only have I fished, but watched the weights on in a long time on Sam Rayburn. So
I will agree.
Really interested in hearing Shane and kind of how he broke it down. And a 2-day wait of 30 pounds to a tournament that size on Rayburn
with 158 on the pro side.
So
I was really unimpressed with Rayburn this past weekend, to say the least. But anyway, and we've got the Fishers of Men results from Red River. We're going to go over that with you as well. And but real quick, we got tip of the week. We're going to go over that. We got a question of the week. Make sure that I think all you.
This is a question of the week that is for all you Rayburn guys out there, and especially some of you brush pile fishermen. This is a question of the week I really want you to think about and listen to when we come up, and hopefully get your comments on our Facebook Live newsfeed here on your thoughts of our question of the week.
Yeah, because it's definitely going to be it's a very thought provoking question. So things are changing a little bit in bass fishing over at Rayburn, and we're going to pick your brain a little bit. But real quick, let's talk about our fine sponsors, Kevin.
The Boat Shop, located at 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat and motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha dealer and full support Garmin dealer, offering the best in electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. They also carry one of the best Luminox made Sea Arc, and they just come out with their new bass fishing aluminum boat
rig.
that Sea Arc makes, powered by Yamaha, of course. So give them a call, 318-402-0399, or you can go to ShreveportBoatShop.com.
And guys, I'm telling you, right here in our region, 3J's 408 and Cypress Knee Outdoors, it's just your headquarters for anything hunting and fishing, whether you need bait and tackle, whether you need a new rod and reel, whether you need some V&M baits. If you're headed for Cane River, maybe you're headed over to Toledo Bend, stop in there, pick up what you need. Hunting season is basically here. Teal season's been going on. Deer season, archery season cranks up October 1, which is next week. Or no, that's this week.
Yes, this week.
That's this week. Yeah. So October the 1st is archery season. If you need bolts, if you need a new crossbow, whatever you need, they've got everything at Cypress Knee Outdoors. And also while you're there, check out the deli. I mean, Crispitos, fried chicken. They got plate lunches. I mean, you name it, they'll satisfy whatever hunger need you got, I'll promise you. And it is great food prepared by some great people. John Abraham and his staff do a wonderful job down there, and we want to thank them. If you need them, give them a call. Call them at 318-238-HUNT. That's 318-238-HUNT. Tell them Tackle Talk Live sent you as well.
We're doing this show at the wrong time of day to be talking about 3J's food.
Exactly. My mouth's watering.
I'm hungry. And our next sponsor, last but not least, Pride Rods, American-made and custom built here in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler, constructed with the finest North Fork composite, blanked by Mr. Gary Loomis. They carry all of your freshwater and saltwater applications for spinning and casting rods. Pride Rods, they definitely pass the eye test, but they surpass the test of performance even more. Stop by your local tackle store and pick one up, or simply ask about Pride Rods. You can also go online at priderods.com or call 832-418-6040 or 936-697-4149.
Got on the phone with us a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a great angler, great person. Just doesn't come better. I'm so happy for this guy because he just pulled off a huge win at Sam Rayburn with the BFL tournament, and he figured out what 157 other anglers couldn't figure out was how to catch them on Sam Rayburn. Had a 30 pounds for 2 days. And Shane Williams. Shane, man, congratulations, buddy. Glad, I'm so happy for you because I know it's a big win for you. Anytime you win a BFL, that's just a feather in your hat, dude.
Man, I sure appreciate it. It was definitely, I know y'all were both down there. Y'all know how tough that lake's fishing right now. And, I practiced Thursday and Friday. Actually, I hadn't been on Sam Rayburn since the V&M tournament last year in September. And then all the Corona stuff and all that this spring, we've got a tackle store, Fishing Frenzy Tackle, down in Stonewall. And, we were super busy doing that. Me and my dad also have a landscaping company, so I hadn't fished much. I had planned on fishing the Archie division of the BFLs because it kind of worked out on my schedule. And then once they changed all that, I couldn't fish the rest of them. So finally, I hadn't been on any lake since May, and I just decided I was going to go fish this tournament. It worked out pretty well for me.
I would definitely say it worked out, Shane.
Sometimes flying by the seat of your pants is the best way to approach it, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I went in, I went practice Thursday, had it in my head. A few years ago I fished at Bassmaster Open over there, and I caught them out deep, and had a pretty good tournament. I'm going to just go over there, and I knew it had been fishing tough, but I know they had been catching some big bags out deep. And I said, I'm just going to go over there and grind it out deep and see what happens. And about, I fished till 6 o'clock Thursday and had 3 little keeper bites out deep, and I said that ain't gonna work. So Friday I changed it up big time and went shallow. I went way up north Friday morning, and it was just wasn't happening up there. So I loaded up and drove all the way around up and put in over St. Augustine and fished up that direction. And about 4 o'clock Friday afternoon, I found a group of fish, and I said, well, just gonna go grind it out for 2 days, hopefully 2 days. I didn't know what was going to happen first. I had 5 keeper bites Saturday, caught all of them, and then had, I think, 8 keeper bites yesterday. About 12:30, caught a 6.5 pounder on a buzzbait. Just one of them. I know those big ones will bite that buzzbait this time of year over there, so I kept it in my hand a whole lot, and it just worked out pretty good.
It paid off, yeah.
Now, Shane, you said you located some fish in practice up around St. Augustine, that side of the lake. Is that where you fish predominantly for the tournament?
Yes, I stayed.
Just that side?
Probably about 400-yard stretch, fishing grass, just the edges of the grass. I'd throw up in the grass and throw that buzzbait.
How was the water? How was the water on that side of the lake, Shane? After all that rain we got during the week,
man, it wasn't bad. When you got up past St. Augustine, you started getting a little bit of color. But that's actually where I caught the biggest fish, was up there. And but I fished this whole pocket. I had one blow up in there Friday morning, and fished the whole deal, and never got another bite. And about 12 o'clock yesterday, I said, man, I got this one spot. I had one bite Friday that I got to run up there and just, I know there's some big fish that are in that area. And pulled up there, and I'd been throwing that little thunder shed. The wind got up yesterday and was blowing in on that grass, and I had that little thunder shed on the flashy swimmer and caught 3 keepers on it. And I pulled up there and started throwing it, and something just kind of came over me. It's like, you need to pick that buzzbait up. About my 10th cast, I caught that 6.5 pounder.
Wow.
So you caught the 6 pounder.
Did not have another bite.
So you caught the 6 pounder around noon on a buzzbait.
That's right.
Now this was day 2. This was day 2.
That's right.
Let's go back to day 1. So I know day 2 you're catching them on different baits. So day 1 you had, I think, 13.5 pounds, correct?
That's right.
Somewhere right there, Shane. So,
13.9.
Yeah. So day 1, is it trash fishing 101 again, junk fishing 101 again? Did you catch them on a variety of different baits, or did you kind of have something dialed in?
I went up there. I was going to throw that buzzbait because, it was cloudy still Saturday morning. And I had a few blow-ups Friday afternoon right there. And I got it away from most of them. I stuck one to the 4-pounder. So, well, I know there's one good fish here. So went back up there. And the first hour I had 4 keepers. I had like 2 4-pounders and a couple 2-pounders. And then that sun burn those clouds off, and it got tough.
Yeah, it did.
You know, it slicked off, no breeze. And finally, we got a little breeze in the afternoon, and I picked up a swim jig and caught a short fish and caught my 5th keeper, which was like a 14 half incher. But I only had 5 keeper bites the first day. So
I got you. So you basically went up to the right side of Rayburn and junk fishing 101 for both days.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I fished a bunch of tournaments over there this time of year in September and October, and it seems like more times than not, you just got to go fishing.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
You know.
Well, the thing I was
well, they're supposed to be here and they're supposed to be there and whatever. You just got to go there and let them tell you where they are and figure them out.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I noticed, and even in my practice, where I found fish in practice, I had 2 good points that were holding fish on Friday. I left them alone, shook 3 fish off, and I thought, okay, they're here. Tournament day, those fish, there was not even bait fish in that area. Everything was just dead zone. I mean, I just couldn't figure that out. I thought there was no weather change. There's no reason for them to adjust or reset up, but something happened overnight there in those 2 spots, and they were good spots. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's like you would catch fish in the back of a pocket, in one pocket, and then you go to the next one trying to pattern that, and they're not there. And then you find them halfway out in another pocket, and then you go to another pocket halfway in, and they're not there. And you're like, okay, what is the deal? It was frustrating for me, very frustrating tournament.
Absolutely. And you know how it is. I'm sure you've learned like I have over the years that all grass is not created equal.
Boy, that's amen to that. Yeah.
And, you know, you're like, oh, there's going to be one on this point of grass right here. And, you know, like
wrong.
Yesterday, I pulled up. I hadn't had a flipping bite. My co-angler the first day caught 2, you know, good keepers. I think he was sitting at 5th going into the second day. He caught 2 good keepers dropping in the grass behind me, and I didn't have a single bite.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, I said, man, that grass looks pretty good. I picked up that flat wild and went to dropping it in there and caught one on this side of the point, fished around within 10 yards on the other side of the point, caught another keeper, and fished a half a mile of it, never had another bite after that.
Yeah.
So it just
you don't have to tell me about that, because that's what I spent most of my tournament doing. Yeah. And I was beyond frustrated. But let's get into the buzzbait. That kind of seemed to be the key deal for you, Shane. I don't know if you want to talk about which brand or which buzzbait you were throwing, but my question, me personally, is it one of the loud clacking buzzbaits, or is it more of just a regular original buzzbait?
It is. It's actually a buddy of mine when we were up at the regional at
Lake of the Pines. They want a clacker up there.
Yeah, I was struggling, and he was catching good ones, and he said, "Man, this buzzbait rigged like this," and it was that crocodigator buzzbait. Mm-hmm. I said, oh, "Okay," so I picked a couple of them up and went to catch a fish. You know, so when I got back to town, I got set up as a dealer with crocodigator at the tackle shop and ordered a bunch of them and got them in there. And the other day before I left, I grabbed 2 black ones and 2 white ones and took them with me. And I was catching them on the black one early in the day, and when it was cloudy and stuff, and I swapped over to that white one when the sun got up and started getting more bites on it. It's like the black one just died after that.
Yeah. Now, Shane, did you find, you know, because the fish didn't see the sun, I know we got there on Thursday, and Friday there was no sun. All of a sudden, Saturday, that sun popped out. Do you think that was the reason a lot of guys struggled? Did it really knock those fish down a little bit?
Man, I think so, because it was, you know, most of last week was cloudy like that.
Right.
And, I think it rained Monday through Friday. It rained and wind blew, and it was cloudy, and all of a sudden Saturday it was hot, bluebird, and sunny.
Yeah, and the water temperature cooled down too while we were there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, good.
So that's kind of, I went over there, you know, thinking I was going to fish deep, but I kind of had my head clear saying, you know, you ain't been here in a year, so just, you know, go fishing and figure them out. And even if that means, like I had to do, keep changing up during the tournament and finally, you know, figure it out. So
I'm just glad to hear somebody won a tournament other than north of 147 Bridge. So
I know.
I'm telling you.
I kind of had that in my brain too, because that's where I practiced Thursday, and it's like every spot that I wanted to pull up on, there's 4 or 5 boats.
Amen.
Right there close. So,
Yeah, Kevin said the same thing. I didn't go up there. I stayed in Mid Lake this time, and there was plenty of boats in Mid Lake, but Kevin said
I fished everywhere from Umphrey past 147. I think every cove, and I can tell you, there was boats everywhere, but there is nothing compared to what it was around 147 Bridge. There was a boat anywhere you can imagine about fishing or think you had a spot. There was 2 to 3 boats on it. And we had 158 boats in our tournament, and there was a lot of boats for the end of the year BFL for us. But there was nothing else going on there.
Right.
But my goodness, at the amount of boats up there. But
let's throw the question of the day at Shane.
Shane, so here's our question of the day, and for all of our viewers out there, I want you to give me your input on this, especially all you brush pile guys. So my question of the day is, how much pressure is too much pressure on brush pile fish? And I say that because the brush pile fish for the last 2 months it has been and for the last year has been the way to win these big tournaments on Sam Rayburn. But when at practice, of course, I did some brush pile fishing. Me idling around looking, it seems like I seen 500 boats on Saturday on tournament day idling, especially around that 147 Bridge area. And that's mostly because the Bass Open was one up there, and that's where the main guys were at. And
there were guys practicing for the upcoming event.
Yes, the Toyota event. Yeah. So Shane, my question is, when is that pressure too much pressure of boats idling over them and all the grass dinging on them, and when is that going to be where them fish say, screw this?
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Man, I know it. I would say it definitely affects them, but you know how it is on brush pile fishing. It's a 100% timing deal, and you got to pull up on the right one at the right time. And if you don't get in that right rotation and do that, you can. It is the hero or zero deal.
It is that. I mean, it is that.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems to me like it's even worse now. It's more. I mean, I've been doing it for 5 or 6 years over there. The past 5 or 6 years, the brush pile fishing, and I felt like I've been fortunate enough to fish a lot of tournaments with the better brush pile fishermen over there. I fished. Well, me and Daryl's fished no telling how many tournaments over there, and I've been in the boat with Nick, who you know very well, Nick LeBrun, who's one of the better brush pile fishermen over there, in my opinion, And I've done it a lot, and I'm telling you, I've never seen it so hard. Not only if you find fish in a brush pile, how hard is it to get them fish to bite that are in that brush pile?
Right. It has gotten tough. I think it was back in 08 or 09 when we were on a pretty good roll, winning and placing high in these tournaments, fishing offshore, brush and structure and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like it's, like you said, it's just gotten tougher and tougher and tougher every year. And you can go put out tops in other areas and all that kind of stuff. And with the electronics now, somebody's going to find them.
Ain't no doubt.
It don't matter where you put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't matter where you put it. Well, Shane, man, look, congrats on this past week. I know it's a huge win for you. I know you haven't been able to fish much lately, but from both of us, Steve and I both want to say congrats. But real quick for all of our listeners out there, for your tackle shop, kind of tell us a little bit about it and your address, where you're located.
Man, it's Fishing Frenzy Tackle. It's up in Stonewall. We're right on Highway 171. If you were to come from I-49 to Stonewall, as soon as you get to the red light Stonewall, you take a right, head north, and we're about a quarter mile on your right-hand side, right next door to Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I've been trying to get with Google, because if you Google Fishing Frenzy Tackle and directions, it takes you south down there to where the new sheriff's substation is. So if it tells you to go south, don't take a right and go north.
Good deal.
All right, Shane. Hey, man, congratulations again, and I guess you'll be headed. I guess you're headed for Table Rock now. Be getting ready for up there. Have you been to Table Rock before?
I have. I didn't fish. I didn't qualify. I didn't fish enough of the tournaments. I think. What do you have to fish to?
I think
four of them.
3 of the 4. I think. Yeah, I think it's 3 of the 4. Yeah.
See, I didn't. I really wanted to go to Table Rock because my dad and I fished a tournament up there last September and did really well in that 150 series. And that was the main reason I was fishing that Archie division, because I really wanted to qualify and go.
Right.
And then it just didn't work out this year.
Well, me and you need to
A
talk.
lot of things didn't work out this year, but
Me and you need to talk off camera then, because I'm going. So I'll take whatever
we can
you
do
was
that.
going up there to do.
all right, we can sure do that.
Shane,
right.
we appreciate you coming on, man. Congrats.
Man, thank y'all. I sure do appreciate it.
All right, man. Shane Williams, the winner of the BFL over at Sam Rayburn this past weekend. And, you know, again, Kevin, I think, I wouldn't say we stumped him on the question of the day, but you can tell that's a lot of thought going to have to go into that question.
It is, and I'm seeing some guys here that are popping up watching us. Dwayne Reese, Clay Phillips, Chris Wilson, I know you guys are watching. I want your input. I want your comment here. How much pressure is too much pressure on brush pile fish? Are we getting to that point on Sam Rayburn that they're getting too much pressure?
Yeah, and is it going to change maybe how you approach 2021 with so many guys fishing out deep? Do you pull in some more?
Well,
I know we talked to some other guys at Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
Glenn Freeman's a good example. He's pulled in a little bit because so many people are out deep fishing the deep tops. And he thinks those fish have adjusted a little bit.
I think
over
this
there.
grass is going to determine that too, Steve.
If
we have a good year of vegetation, everybody's can pull off the brush piles a little bit. It's just kind of how our winter goes here. If there's a good trap bite, you know, and on throughout the year, if we have a lot of grass, that will pull some of the pressure off them brush piles. But I can tell you, and like I said when Shane was on there, I've been doing the brush pile fishing for a long time over there at Sam Rayburn.
Right.
And I've never seen the amount of boats idling and looking for brush piles and throwing in brush piles that I seen this past weekend.
Yeah.
I really didn't. So,
Real quick on the co-angler side of this event, local angler from right here in Natchitoches, Louisiana, Ben Foshee won the tournament. He had a 2-day total of 22.8. Won it by 6-7 pounds. And second place was 15-11, Zachary McDaniel from Pitkin, Louisiana. So, and there's a guy down in number 5. Fifth place was Lat Nichols. I fished with Lat at the Ray Scott National Championship last year. He's from over there around Paris, Texas at Deport. Great. He is up top in more tournaments. He really ranks pretty high every single time. One of the better co-anglers I've ever fished with. Does a great job. So congratulations to all you guys that placed high. So, and
but you know, talking about Shane, hearing, you know, basically junk fishing 101,
Right.
I can honestly say I believe that. I knew that's what he was going to say before he ever said it, because I really felt like that's what an angler was going to have to do to win that event. We had rain, clouds, beautiful weather, wind all week. And then Saturday, no wind, bluebird, sun, and those fish just froze up, along with 500 boats being on the lake.
Really, midday Friday, it slicked off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when the wind kind of really quit. It was around midday Friday.
Yeah.
And it just...
When I say that is probably the toughest tournament I've ever fished on Rayburn in a long, long time.
Well, and Kevin was right at 28th place at one point, 25th place, and with the flight to go with a little over 9 pounds, and had a shot to make the top 31 cut.
Yeah.
When you called me with that, I'm like, wow, it was as tough as I thought it was.
I had 9 pounds and 11 ounces, and I ended up 35th. Top 31 made the cut. And I'm walking up, and you know, and I was upset. I only had 4. I really felt like and I'll tell my story here. I had my 5th fish a couple of times, and I just never could get him in the boat. But so I'm walking up. I'm not pleased. I had a pretty decent practice. I felt like I had some stuff going out deep. I had found some good piles. I had a flipping bite going. I really felt good going into this tournament. So I'm mad. I'm pissed off walking in, coming up to weigh in, and I'm walking up with my 9 pounds, and I see a good friend of mine, Cole Moore, standing there, and he said, "What you got?" And I said, "Man, I just got 4 little ones. I got 9 pounds." And he's like, "Man, you gonna make the cut?" I said, "Man, you're kidding me." He said, "No, you're gonna make the cut." He said, "Right now, 7 pounds is in the cut," and I couldn't believe it.
At Sam Rayburn,
and I checked in at 4:30, so there's only one more flight after me to check in. So 4 fish, 9-11, and I was 4 ounces from making the cut.
Bringing that up because I said that morning I was boat 9 leaving out, and I had to be in at 3 o'clock. This was a tournament I felt like guys could catch them late. Some teams had almost 2 hours extra fishing time compared to flight one coming in at 3.
And I was one of those, Steve. I had a 4:30 check-in. At 3 o'clock, I had 3 fish.
Yeah.
At 3:30, I caught another 3-pounder.
Right.
And then actually about 4:10, 4:15, I was fishing a pocket closer to Humphrey, and they come up schooling, and some good ones. I seen a couple 3-pounders. I reached down, picked up my spook. I threw my spook out there, and when it hit the water and I went to twitch it, the hooks had grabbed the string.
All tangled up.
I had 3-pounders jumping over my spook, and it won't work. So I felt like I could have got my 5th keeper right there, but it just wasn't meant to be. So
but I guess my question
is,
I mean, and I know they're spreading the field out because of COVID-19. That's why they're spreading the field out. But that's a distinct advantage, especially if you're in the spring and there's a late bite when the water seems to warm up late in the afternoon. That is a big advantage. Is that fair? Do you think, should we just stop fishing at a certain time?
Yeah,
Everybody stop.
Because you were boat what? Boat 7?
I was boat 9.
9?
Yeah.
And I was probably 30. I was boat 118, and I was probably 45 minutes behind you.
Yeah.
But I got an hour and a half more fishing time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but
I know why they do it.
Yeah, they have
and it's
to
luck
do
of
it.
the draw.
Right. It
but
is.
It is. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway.
It is.
All right, moving along. Let's see here. Louisiana Bass Nation results. I think we have partial results. Is that right, Kevin?
We did. They had day 1 results. Day 2, they didn't post the 2-day results. They posted, because that was their final state tournament. They posted the who made the state team and those rankings and those points. I do know Travis Laurent won the Louisiana Bass Nation 2-day weight of 24 pounds. So it was not only tough on Sam Rayburn, it was tough on Toledo Bend as well.
Yeah, I think the fishing overall was tough, as I've got the results right here of the Fishers of Men District 6 Championship, the regionals for Fishers of Men on Red River. And I was anxious to see what was coming in on Red River for the results here, because I've heard some guys say it's getting better. Now, I did talk to a guy that had caught several 3- and 4-pounders in practice.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's a good sign. But based off the weights that were turned in, the team that won it, Jared Dolizel and John Peterson, they won it with 10 fish total of 22.4. That's a 11-pound average.
But again,
per
Steve,
day?
Saturday again on Red River, it rained all week.
Oh, yeah.
Cloudy.
Oh.
And Saturday it's bluebird.
Well, they were releasing water from Texoma too.
Yeah.
And there was a major fluctuation in pool 5 and 4 and 3. They held a lot of water back in 3
Yes.
and had it kept it low. So it was a lot of variables that went into why the fish didn't bite very well.
I'm still going to predict you bass champs guys that's going there for y'all's championship. You're going to catch them better than you think.
Yeah, and if Texoma will stabilize, and that'll help you, because one thing we've learned, it takes like 5 or 6 days for that water. When it's released from Texoma, it takes about 5 days to get to Shreveport. So you'll see a difference in fluctuation, but if that river stabilizes, you guys are going to catch them, and you're going to have a good tournament. So. But congratulations to those guys. 1954 was second. 1742 was third. 1689 was fifth. And so congratulations to all those guys. There were several bags, again, for over 2 days. If you averaged 8 pounds a day, you were actually right there close to being in the hunt. And which is kind of what Harold Allen thought.
Yeah.
8 pounds a day over there for the bass champs might do it. But
yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit more.
No, I agree. I think it's going to take a little bit more. Kind of going back to our question of the day here, Steve. Got some good comments. And Clay Phillips, one of the hottest anglers over there on Sam Rayburn right now. I believe what Clay finished this past weekend. Clay finished 5th. He said always trying to find the ones that are loaded. The piles are loaded, but way too much pressure over there right now. Dwayne Reese, and Dwayne's right. He says getting a ton of pressure, but it's all about timing and, still the way to win with a huge bag. And it is. It is the way to win those one-day events. I'm not saying that. Right. I'm just saying if for like the BFL and for those 2-day events, it is more hero or zero now than ever.
Yeah, I'll agree.
And you can't go over there having 10 to 15 piles.
Right.
Because you might get to fish 3 or 4 of those 10 or 15 piles.
Right.
You better have 30, 40, 50 piles to run in a day that has fish on it, because there's going to be a boat on 3 out of every 5 that you go to.
Yep.
That's
exactly
and
right.
that's where I'm going with that.
And that can be very frustrating.
There's no secret places for piles anymore.
No.
There's no hiding piles, and there's no more putting piles out thinking that that's your pile, because with electronics we have nowadays and the time that these guys spend on the water, it's not a secret, and it's not going to be a secret.
No,
so
don't act like you got, just because you go out and you find brush, but that don't mean they're yours now, because my opinion, when brush tops hit the water, they become public.
It's public.
Yeah, it becomes public. Public targets. If you want to go fish brush pile, because everybody that's fishing this level has got great electronics on their boats, and they're going to go find them anyway. So for anybody to claim that these are my brush tops, unless you put them out, don't make that claim.
Yeah.
You're just fishing everybody else's stuff that they've already put out for you, and mostly it's these crappie guys putting these tops out for you to begin with.
Yeah, that's exactly
So,
right.
but
But now also saying that on the brush pile thing, I think right now it's such a big deal, because that's how all the main open guys, the ones that won it and did very well, that's what they were doing. So we got a lot of guys doing that right now that usually don't typically do that.
Yeah.
And when they go a week or two and don't catch them, they're going back to the bank. So
that's true.
it might calm down a little bit, but this past weekend was just, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So we'll move on.
All right, upcoming events. Outdoor Outlaws Team Series Championship is coming up this weekend, October 3rd and 4th. And then we got the Bob Seeley coming up.
The Seeley Big Bass Splash on Sam Rayburn, October 10th. I'm sorry, 9th and 10th. That is Saturday.
And 11th.
Saturday.
It's 3 day.
It is a 3-day?
3 day, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Yeah, I talked to Bob last week.
Oh, okay.
It's a 3-day event. $600,000 is up for grabs. It's not the shootout. They combining the shootout and the spring tournament all into one. $171,000 in hourly payback. So this is a full-fledged regular Bob Seeley 3-day event to end the season. So if you're interested, hey, get over there and get registered at all the academies. You can register there or go online and register. So
then the third weekend, and so Rayburn's not getting a break. The third weekend, the FLW Toyota Series Southwestern Division comes to Rayburn October 15th for that 3-day event. So you've got 3 straight weekends of big tournaments going on Rayburn.
Right.
And it's going to spit out good weights. With this cooler weather we got coming, the grass is coming to Rayburn, I think there's going to be some good weights. Fishing will get better on Rayburn.
Yep.
Fishing will get better.
Moves along. You're exactly right. Fish are going to start feeding up in those feeding frenzies, and probably start schooling better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also coming up, the ABA Ray Scott National Championship is going to be held on Lake Hartwell November 1st through the 7th. Myself and several other anglers from this region will be participating in that event. And as we get closer to that, and hopefully maybe while I'm over there, maybe we can do a live report as to what's going on over there at Lake Hartwell. And then, Kevin, the big news that we're not going to release today, but we're going to kind of let you know, there is a pro circuit that's going to crank up. It looks like it's pretty much a done deal, and we will give you details next week right here on Tackle Talk Live. We'll actually have an interview with the tournament director that's going to be heading this up. It's exciting news. If you want to fish the pro side of a circuit, and it's very affordable, and it's going to be in this region.
It's the best payout for an individual pro circuit I've ever seen. I'm not lying here.
Yeah.
Steve brought this to my attention, and we're going to release it all on the show next week.
Yep.
But it is the best payout for what you're putting up, for the amount of money you're putting up for an individual pro circuit. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, this will be big news, and we're looking forward to releasing that next week. And again, we'll have the actual tournament director for this circuit come on the air, and he'll actually release this live right here on Tackle Talk Live next week. So looking forward to that. Also, Kev, we got I sent in a tip of the week. I guess that's what we're going to have. James, do we have that for this week? Yes. James said thumbs up. So I'll be doing a tip of the week this week. It's a pretty good tip of the week. I think you'll like it. And but again, we got some great sponsors we want to thank.
Yeah, one more time, thanking our sponsors, the Boat Shop, located up in Shreveport off Sanford Avenue. Full support Garmin dealer for your electronics, for your trolling motor, a Sea-Arc dealer, and a Yamaha mechanic. They work everything wrong with your Yamaha. 3J's four-way, which is just south here on the interstate south of Natchitoches. So for all you South Louisiana guys coming up the interstate, going over to Toledo Bend, make sure stop by 3J's four-way. You can get your tackle, you can get your food, your ice before on your way to the lake. And last but not least, Pride Rods, made locally right here in South Texas, Southeast Texas. Some of the finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler, and we appreciate what those three sponsors do for us, for sure.
Yeah, and you can throw a rock from the interstate and hit Cypress Knee and 3J's four-way. So make that short drive right off the interstate, stop in there again, get you something to eat, something to drink, and do a little shopping while you're there. And if you got, hey, Christmas is coming up. It'll be here before you know. We're already basically October, and you guys looking for a Christmas gift for family members, no better place than John Abraham over at Cypress Knee Outdoors. So check them out. Is that it?
That's it.
We can't say thank you enough. We fully appreciate each and every one of you for tuning us in. This was a special edition coming in to you tonight, and we had up to 70 views I saw. Great, man. We can't say thank you enough. Continue to spread the word about Tackle Talk Live. And again, if you want to be a better angler, you've got to continue to watch Tackle Talk Live. Here's this week's Tackle Talk Live tip of the week. I'm Ranger Diver Pro Staffer Steve Graff, and today I'm going to introduce you to a little thing I like to do, rain suits. There's one thing I have learned in my years of fishing: don't pinch pennies on a rain suit. Get a good one. Get one that will last, that will keep you warm and dry. Well, one product over the years that I've learned to use that has helped me allow to maintain my rainwear even longer is a product that I started using. They don't sponsor the show, but it's a product that I use that I'm telling you is really good. I like it. It's called Never Wet by Rust-Oleum. It's a fabric spray that you put on anything you want to make waterproof. And I use even on my jackets at the end of the season, end of the fishing season. I'll take my jackets, I'll hang them up on a hanger inside my garage, and I'll simply spray this product on here and on all my seams, especially the shoulder seams and the neck seams. That seams where we get a little leakage, and I think it's because of the flexing of those seams over time. They tend to develop leaks. So this product right here helps stop that. And again, at the end of every fishing season, I will recoat a lot of my rain gear, especially my lightweight rain gear. I'll recoat them every year with this product right here, the Rust-Oleum Never Wet Fabric Protection. If you're looking to keep something dry and waterproof, get you some of this right here. It's a really good product. That's this week's Tackle Talk Live tip of the week.